In 1970, Soviet scientists began drilling a hole into the Earth, not for oil, not for minerals, for knowledge. They called it the Kola super deep borehole. The goal was simple: drill deeper than anyone had ever drilled before. Reach the boundary between Earth's crust and mantle. Touch a place no human had ever reached. The project began on the Kola Peninsula in northwestern Russia. Remote, frozen, far from any major city. The team assembled the most advanced drilling equipment available at the time. Soviet engineers worked in shifts, day and night, year after year. By 1979, they had drilled 9 kilometers deep. By 1983, 12 kilometers. They broke the world record, but they didn't stop. The deeper they went, the stranger things became. At 7 kilometers down, the rock was 2 billion years old, ancient beyond comprehension, formed when Earth's surface was unrecognizable. At 9 kilometers, temperatures reached 180 degrees Celsius, far hotter than models predicted. The equipment began to fail. They found water, not near the surface, deep, miles below where water should exist. The rock was saturated. Geologists couldn't explain it. Models said this depth should be bone dry. At 12 kilometers, they discovered microscopic fossils, plankton remains, embedded in rock that had been underground for millions of years. How did they get there? Scientists theorize these fossils were pushed down by tectonic forces, subduction, continental drift, the slow churning of Earth's crust over geological time. But the presence of organic material at such depths challenged assumptions. It meant life's remnants could survive extreme heat and pressure. It meant the boundary between surface and deep Earth was more complex than anyone thought. In 1989, they reached 12,262 meters, 40,230 feet, 7.5 miles straight down. The temperature at that depth was 180 degrees Celsius. The pressure was immense. The drill bit could barely turn. Then something unexpected happened. The rock became less dense, softer, almost porous. Instruments detected unusual acoustic properties. Some described it as cavities in the rock, empty spaces where solid material should be. Drilling became unstable. The hole began to collapse on itself. In 1992, the project was halted. Officially, funding dried up. The Soviet Union had just collapsed. Economic chaos followed. But some reports suggest technical limitations forced the shutdown. The drill couldn't go deeper. The heat was too extreme. The equipment couldn't handle the stress. The Kola super deep borehole remains the deepest artificial point on Earth. To this day, no one has drilled deeper. The site was abandoned in the mid-1990s. The drilling rig was dismantled. Rust and decay took over. Today, the entrance is sealed with a heavy metal cap, welded shut, bolted down. Officially, it's closed for safety reasons. Unstable ground, dangerous conditions. But the question remains, what did they find down there? Some claim the drilling team heard strange sounds through their instruments. Rumbling, vibrations, noises that didn't match geological activity. These stories spread through tabloids and fringe media in the 1990s. One widely circulated tale claimed scientists recorded screams from deep underground. They called it the well to hell. This story is fiction, a hoax. It originated from a religious newsletter and was later debunked. No credible scientific source supports these claims. No recordings exist. No official documentation mentions anything supernatural, but the myth persists. Why? Because the Kola borehole represents something deeply unsettling, a reminder of how little we know about the planet beneath our feet. We've sent probes to Mars, explored the surface of distant moons, mapped the outer reaches of the solar system, but we've barely scratched the surface of our own world. The Kola borehole penetrated less than 1% of Earth's radius. The mantle, Earth's thickest layer, begins at around 30 kilometers down. They never reached it. What they did reach was a world of extremes, temperatures that melted equipment, pressures that crushed metal, conditions that defied predictions. Every meter drilled revealed something unexpected: ancient water, fossils in impossible places, rock that behaved in ways models didn't predict. The project taught scientists that Earth's interior is far more dynamic than previously understood. It's not a static, layered structure. It's alive with movement, fluid circulation, chemical reactions happening on timescales of millions of years. Other countries attempted similar projects. Germany drilled the KTB borehole in Bavaria. It reached 9 kilometers before being abandoned. The United States started the Bertha Rogers hole in Oklahoma. It reached 9,583 meters in 1974, still short of Kola's record. Why did no one go deeper? Cost, technology, diminishing returns. Each additional meter required exponentially more resources. The deeper you go, the harder it becomes. Eventually, the cost outweighs the scientific value. Or does it? Some researchers argue we abandoned deep drilling too soon, that the answers to fundamental questions about Earth's formation lie deeper still. Others say we reached the practical limit, that current technology simply can't go further. But technology improves. Materials science advances. Drilling techniques evolve. Could we drill deeper today? Theoretically, yes. Practically, it's unclear. The challenges remain the same: heat, pressure, stability, and funding. Deep drilling is expensive. It requires years of sustained investment. Governments and institutions must commit for the long term. The Kola Super Deep Borehole stands as both an achievement and a warning. An achievement because it pushed the boundaries of human capability. A warning because it revealed how much we still don't understand. The hole is still there, sealed, silent, waiting. The Soviet team recorded their findings. Thousands of pages of research, core samples, temperature readings, seismic data. Much of this information was classified during the Cold War. After the Soviet Union fell, some records were released. Others remain locked away in Russian archives. Do you believe we stopped because of technical limitations or something else? The deepest point humanity ever reached beneath the surface taught us something profound. That Earth keeps secrets in layers. That every answer leads to more questions. When the Kola project began, scientists expected to confirm existing geological models. They expected predictable temperature increases, expected rock composition to follow established patterns, expected everything to align with decades of theoretical work. Instead, they found contradictions. The temperature gradient was steeper than predicted. Rock that should have been basaltic was granitic. Water existed where it shouldn't. These weren't small discrepancies. They were fundamental challenges to how we understood planetary formation. The discovery of water at such depths was particularly significant, not because water itself is unusual, but because of where it was and how it got there. Water at 12 kilometers deep suggested pathways, channels through rock, circulation systems operating on geological timescales. This meant Earth's crust wasn't the solid, stable shell many imagined. It was porous, dynamic, constantly exchanging material between surface and depth. The implications extended beyond geology. If water could penetrate that deep, what else could? Could organic material survive? Could chemical processes unique to those conditions exist? Could life, in some form, exist in Earth's deep crust? These weren't absurd questions. Recent discoveries have found microbial life in mines several kilometers deep. Organisms that don't rely on sunlight, that feed on chemical reactions in rock, that exist in conditions previously thought uninhabitable. The Kola borehole hinted at this possibility, that Earth's subsurface might harbor ecosystems we've never explored, that biology might exist in dimensions we haven't considered. But proving this would require going deeper, and that's where the project stalled. The drilling team faced a choice: push forward with failing equipment and uncertain outcomes, or preserve what they'd learned and stop. They stopped, not because they wanted to, but because the forces they encountered were overwhelming. At 12 kilometers, the rock temperature was too high. The drill bit couldn't maintain integrity. The hole's walls kept collapsing. Each collapse meant days of clearing debris. Each clearing meant more stress on equipment. Each stress meant higher costs and diminishing returns. The Soviet scientific community debated whether to continue. Some argued the scientific value justified the expense. Others said resources should go to other projects. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the decision was made for them. Funding vanished. The project was abandoned, but the legacy remained. The Kola Super Deep Borehole became a reference point, a benchmark for what's possible, and a reminder of what's not. In the decades since, technology has advanced significantly. Materials science has developed heat-resistant alloys. Drilling techniques have improved. Computing power allows for better modeling and prediction. Yet no one has attempted to drill deeper. Why? Some say the cost is prohibitive. Deep drilling requires massive infrastructure, specialized equipment, highly trained personnel, years of sustained funding. Others say the scientific community has shifted focus. Space exploration captures more attention. Climate science demands resources. Medical research attracts funding. But there's another possibility. Maybe we learned what we needed to learn. The Kola borehole revealed that Earth's interior is more complex than we thought, that our models were incomplete, that going deeper would only reveal more complexity. And perhaps that's enough. Some mysteries don't need to be fully solved. Some frontiers are better left partially explored. The sealed metal cap over the Kola borehole represents a boundary, not just physical, but conceptual. It marks the deepest we've gone, and maybe the deepest we need to go. The site itself has become something of a pilgrimage destination. Adventurous travelers trek to the remote Kola Peninsula. They stand at the edge of the sealed hole. They take photographs. They wonder, what's down there? Not mysteries in the supernatural sense, but real physical phenomena we don't yet understand. Rock formations that challenge our theories, temperature distributions that defy models, acoustic anomalies that suggest structures we can't see. The scientific data collected from Kola remains valuable. Researchers still analyze core samples, still study temperature readings, still try to reconcile observations with theory. Each analysis refines our understanding. Each refinement leads to new questions. Could there be mineral deposits at those depths? Resources we haven't accessed? Materials with properties we've never studied? Some theorize that rare earth elements exist in concentrations deep underground. Elements critical for modern technology, smartphones, electric vehicles, renewable energy systems. If these elements exist at depth, accessing them could reshape global economics. But extraction would be nearly impossible with current technology. The heat alone would melt most equipment. The pressure would crush the standard machinery. The logistics would be staggering. So the resources, if they exist, remain untouched. Another mystery sealed beneath the surface. The Kola Super Deep Borehole also represents a philosophical question. How far should we push? Humanity has always explored boundaries, climbed the highest mountains, crossed the widest oceans, ventured into space. But Earth's interior remains largely unexplored, not because we lack curiosity, but because the conditions are so extreme. The deeper we go, the more hostile the environment becomes. Heat that melts metal, pressure that crushes stone, darkness absolute. These aren't conditions humans can survive. They're barely conditions equipment can endure. So we send machines, drills, sensors, instruments, and we wait for data, for insights, for answers. But the answers often lead to more questions. At 7 kilometers down, why was the rock older than expected? At 9 kilometers, why was there water? At 12 kilometers, why did the rock become porous? Each question opens new avenues of research. Each avenue requires resources, time, expertise, and at some point we have to choose. Keep pushing deeper or focus on what we've learned. The Kola borehole represents that choice. The Soviet scientists chose to stop, not because they lost interest, but because the frontier pushed back harder than they could push forward. Nature imposed limits. Limits we're still working to overcome. Decades later, those limits remain. No drill has gone deeper. No technology has breached the barrier. No new record has been set. The Kola Super Deep Borehole stands alone. The deepest point, the farthest reach. And maybe that's where it should stay. Not as a monument to failure, but as a marker of achievement. We reached further than anyone thought possible. We learned more than we expected. We discovered that Earth is more mysterious than we imagined. And we left something behind. A sealed hole, a reminder, a question. What else is down there? We may never know. But the fact that we tried, that we pushed, that we drilled 7.5 miles into solid rock, that alone is remarkable. The story of the Kola super deep borehole isn't just about drilling. It's about what drives us to explore. Humans have always been drawn to the unknown, the unreachable, the forbidden. Mountains were climbed because they were there. Oceans were crossed because they were vast. Space was explored because it was infinite. And Earth's interior? It called to us because it was hidden beneath our feet, always present, never seen. The Kola project was an attempt to pierce that veil, to see what lies beneath, to understand the foundation on which everything rests. But the deeper the team drilled, the more they realized something fundamental. Earth doesn't give up its secrets easily. Every kilometer gained was a battle. Every meter drilled required ingenuity. Every breakthrough came with new obstacles. The rock fought back. The heat pushed equipment to failure. The pressure crushed everything in its path. And yet they persisted. For nearly 2 decades, the project continued. Engineers developed new drill bits. Scientists analyzed samples in real time. Workers operated machinery in conditions that tested human endurance. They worked in the frozen Arctic, in temperatures that could kill in minutes, in isolation, far from civilization. Why? Because the data they collected could reshape entire fields of science. Geology, seismology, planetary science. Understanding Earth's interior helps predict earthquakes. It helps locate resources. It helps us understand how planets form and evolve. The Kola borehole contributed to all of this. The temperature data revealed new models of heat flow. The rock samples showed mineral compositions that challenged assumptions. The discovery of water suggested circulation patterns no one predicted. These weren't minor findings. They were paradigm shifts. And they came from a hole in the ground. A hole that took 20 years to drill. A hole that cost millions of rubles. A hole that pushed the limits of Soviet technology. All for knowledge. Pure, fundamental knowledge. No immediate practical application. No commercial value. Just the drive to understand. In that sense, the Kola super deep borehole represents the best of human ambition. The pursuit of knowledge for its own sake. The willingness to invest in understanding, even when the benefits aren't immediately clear. But it also represents limitations. There are places we cannot reach, conditions we cannot survive, frontiers that resist our efforts. The Kola borehole reached one of those limits. At 12,262 meters, the frontier said no further. Not because of human will, not because of lack of determination, but because the physical world imposed boundaries. Those boundaries still exist. We can develop better materials. We can design more advanced drills. We can apply more computing power to the problem. But at some point, heat and pressure will always win, unless we fundamentally change our approach. Some researchers have proposed new methods, using plasma instead of mechanical drills, developing materials that don't melt at extreme temperatures, creating autonomous systems that can operate without surface support. These ideas remain theoretical, expensive, unproven, but they represent hope. Hope that one day we'll push deeper, that we'll break through the barriers that stop the Kola project, that we'll finally reach the mantle. And when we do, what will we find? More mysteries, certainly, more questions, more challenges, because that's how exploration works. Every answer reveals new unknowns. Every discovery opens new frontiers. Every achievement points to what remains undone. The Kola super deep borehole taught us that. It taught us that Earth is more complex than we imagined, that our models are incomplete, that there's always more to learn, and it taught us humility. We are small. Our technology is limited. Our understanding is partial, but our curiosity is boundless, and that curiosity will drive us forward. One day, someone will drill deeper than Kola, someone will break the record, someone will push past 12 kilometers, past 15, past 20, and when they do, they'll carry with them the lessons of Kola, the knowledge that exploration requires patience, that understanding requires persistence, that some frontiers resist, but none are truly impenetrable. Until then, the Kola super deep borehole remains, sealed, silent, waiting, a monument to what we've achieved, a reminder of what remains, and a question that echoes through time. What else lies beneath? We may not know in our lifetime, but the question itself drives progress. It inspires new technology, motivates new research, encourages new generations to push boundaries. That's the true legacy of the Kola Super Deep Borehole. Not the depth reached, not the records broken, but the spirit of exploration it represents, the drive to understand, the willingness to try, the courage to face the unknown. That spirit doesn't die with abandoned projects. It lives on in every scientist who studies the data, every engineer who designs new tools, every person who looks at the sealed hole and wonders, what if we tried again? Maybe we will, maybe we won't, but the fact that we ask the question, that we wonder, that we dream of going deeper, that's what makes us human. And that's why the story of the Kola Super Deep Borehole matters, not just as history, but as inspiration, a reminder that frontiers exist to be explored, that limits exist to be tested, that the unknown exists to be understood, and someday, somehow, we'll find a way. Do you think humanity should attempt to drill deeper? Should we invest in new technology to surpass the Kola record? Or are some frontiers better left untouched? If stories about forgotten scientific achievements fascinate you, subscribe to Veiled Origin. Your support keeps these investigations alive. This is Veiled Origin, where history meets mystery, and the questions never truly end.